So, as for the individual projects, well, like I said about Home, I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball. It could be really good despite those trailers. It could be really bad. I heard something about it not testing well, but that kind of contradicts what I heard a year ago. I heard roughly around a year ago it was testing well, so who knows? Test audiences are hard to gauge, especially when it comes to animated features. It reminds me of how I think it was Steven Spielberg who said this. I'm probably dead wrong here, but Steven Spielberg, he doesn't like doing test screenings. And I think his argument was, you could get a random crowd on a Monday and they're grumpy and they're in no mood to see this movie. But you can get a completely different crowd on a Friday who's not grumpy and are willing to see the movie. It's not exactly what he supposedly said. It's just the gist of what he was saying. Like, you never know. The audience you get off you get off the street, wherever you get it, they could be, like, what's this? Why are we watching this? And then another audience could be like, oh, cool. We're going to see a movie before it comes out. You can't always go by the test screenings. And I've heard that some test audiences, even though they're told by the theater, the people who are going to screen the movie, they tell them now a lot of the effects or a lot of the animation is incomplete because this is a work in progress. After the movie ends, they complain, the special effects were terrible, the animation was terrible. Some people just don't pay attention to that kind of stuff, so who knows? But there are things I liked in those trailers. I liked Future Earth. I thought it looked pretty creative and very colorful. It's reminding me a lot of The Croods, but in a good way. Even though I wasn't big on The Croods, I loved the visuals in that movie. I loved that world that it took place in. And I love this one too, and I like the sort of home planet or spaceship the aliens in the movie, the Boov, live in or on. I gotta look at that trailer again, but the human character, the girl, she seems okay. The characters seem alright. It's just you never know. The movie could be something really good by the time it ends, or it could be meh, it could be bad. But I like the visuals in the trailer, and I don't think it looks as bad as a lot of people are suggesting. Like, a lot of people are, going in full on, crystal ball mode, and they're saying it's gonna bomb. That's it. It's gonna bomb, and DreamWorks is gonna go under. That's not gonna happen. Walt Disney, his studio had a string of flops. Did that studio go under? Nope. DreamWorks will find a way. DreamWorks will find a way. They're, corporations and big places and studios, they've been through hard times. And DreamWorks, well, they have too much going for them to fail. And they got roughly 3 to 4 franchises, and they got the Netflix deal. They'll find a way. Even if Home doesn't do well, they'll find a way. Home probably needs to make around $280 to $300 million in order to break even. But then again, Penguin's topped $300 million worldwide, and it has the same budget, and it was still considered a money loser. So I'm guessing Home has to make maybe $350 million. I do not know. I don't know what DreamWorks wants out of Home. But hopefully it does well. Even if it's not good, we still need to wish it to do well because DreamWorks needs a little morale boost. And they can use that money to keep going, and then they can keep making awesome movies like Kung Fu Panda and How to Train Your Dragon. Good movies. Because, I see a lot of people snark about DreamWorks, and it's like, for every Kung Fu Panda or How to Train Your Dragon, they make a crappy movie like Turbo, and it's like, well, and then I see some people wishing, I think some people are kind of wishing they go under, or some people are like, they're going to go under, oh, Home looks terrible, I'm not going to go see it. Well, maybe go see it, just to help it, I guess. I don't know. Because, if it does well for DreamWorks, they could keep making, those good movies that these people love. These Kung Fu Pandas, these How to Train Your Dragon type films. So, yeah. Next up, Kung Fu Panda 3, and Kung Fu Panda 1 was really good. Kung Fu Panda 2 was really good. I love the world they've created. I love the storyline. It gets bigger and epic as it progresses. Characters are cool. The humor's good. The Kung Fu Panda series is really cool and very creative. So, 3, bring it on. Apparently there's 2 villains, and one of the villains in this movie, I think Guillermo del Toro himself said it, one of the villains is going to be the most formidable one in the series yet, like the scariest, the most intimidating, the most menacing. And that's good because, Tai Lung in the first movie was menacing. I love his character design. He has a great voice, and he's a pretty badass villain. He's a pretty powerful villain, but I thought Lord Shen was better from a writing standpoint, and also the climax with Po and Lord Shen is more satisfying, in my opinion, than the one in the first movie. I think the first movie's climax is okay. I mean, they went a comedy, like a more comedic route with it, whereas with the second one, it's a little more epic. I mean, I was more satisfied with the climax of the second movie. And again, Lord Shen is a great villain, and he's just really this really awful character. So I can only imagine what the villains will be in the third one, like what kind of animals they'll be. Like, will it be another panda that Po will face, or will it be, like, I'm trying to think of animals that kind of live in that region, near the Himalayas and in China, and I'm trying to think of like all the animals and what they could do, and some people speculate that maybe the villain is going to be a dragon, and that would be really that would be really unexpected. So yeah, there's a lot of potential with Kung Fu Panda 3. I really love that series. So yeah, bring on the third one. I wonder now. A lot of people seem to bring up they're going to make more Kung Fu Pandas. They're going to make 6 of them. Jeffrey Katzenberg said that back in 2010, but times change. After the second one came out, I think the plans to make it a 6-film series kind of went kaput. But if the third one is a big hit, that's all that matters. Maybe they'll make more, or maybe they'll just cap it off. Who knows? But all I know is this. Kung Fu Panda 2 might have underperformed in the US, but it was bigger worldwide, and it outgrossed the first movie. It just wasn't the mega blockbuster that people were expecting it to be. See, I was thinking it was going to have like a Shrek 2 or Toy Story 2 or Despicable Me 2 sized increase. And why it didn't do well is another story for another day. I've written about it extensively on my blog. So yeah, a lot of potential there. Kung Fu Panda 3 opens March 18th, 2016. Trolls opens November 4th, 2016, but I reckon they're going to change that date because that's the same day Marvel intends to release Doctor Strange, and Doctor Strange being a Marvel movie, it's going to crush anything in its path, and an animated family movie will suffer the most because Marvel Studios films also get in the families because, there's lots of kids who love Marvel, and of course all the adults are going to go see that by default, so they better move Trolls. Move it to like mid-October or something. Anyways, I have little interest in Trolls. Trolls, to me, seems like a movie they're making as, it seems like a safe money, a safe money maker. And I'm okay with that. I mean, DreamWorks needs to pocket the cash. And Trolls, well, the Troll dolls have been around for decades. And, I don't think they're of Lego status, but if they make something Lego movie-esque out of Trolls, and it makes some good money, well, power to them. I'm just personally not interested in it, unless there's potential in it. And I'm hearing something about them creating their own mythology for the Troll dolls, and, that could be creative. I mean, they're still doing it for a toy line, but, in the back of our heads, we have this sort of idea that if it's based on a toy, then it's just a toy commercial, it's corporate. But the Lego movie proved us wrong. Now, not every movie is going to be, as clever and as witty and as awesome as the Lego movie is. But I can't put it past DreamWorks because, for every Croods or Turbo, DreamWorks makes something truly special like Kung Fu Panda or How to Train Your Dragon or Rise of the Guardians. So I wouldn't put it past them to make something really cool out of Trolls. And maybe it will be cool because it's not much. I mean, you hand somebody, oh, we want you to make a movie based on those little troll dolls. You're not given much to do with that, but maybe that's the good thing. And then you can just do your own thing. You can run wild and just do all these things because there's no rules or anything. It's not like you're adapting a book where there's specific rules. You can just come up with that. It reminds me of when the Nostalgia Critic was talking about Richard Williams' Raggedy Ann and Andy, A Musical Adventure. He says, well, they didn't know what to do with the dolls, so they just did whatever. I mean, if you find some way to watch that film, it's very surreal, and it's got some of the coolest animation I've ever seen. I mean, it's Richard Williams, the guy behind Who Framed Roger Rabbit and The Thief and the Cobbler, but he was doing this all for a Raggedy Ann and Andy movie. A movie that, a concept that probably didn't warrant such visuals, but he did it anyways, because there were really no rules. Just here's Raggedy Ann and Andy, and it's the same thing with Trolls. Here's the Trolls, do whatever with it. So I'm hoping DreamWorks does that, and they come up with their own creative, original stuff that makes it worth watching, so it could be good. But right now, it doesn't really appeal to me because, again, it sounds perhaps a little too corporate and a little too safe when, DreamWorks could be doing something a little riskier, like the Monkeys of Mumbai musical that they removed from the slate, or heck, even that Boo project, because that was about ghosts, and that was also an original story. So, yeah, that's what I think about Trolls. Moving on to Boss Baby. Now, Boss Baby, I know little about. I mean, when they announced it, I didn't know it was a book. I just saw that they announced this movie called Boss Baby. Now, this was a year ago. We ordered their slate when How to Train Your Dragon 2 was coming out, and Boss Baby was put in the March 2016 slot that Kung Fu Panda 3 now occupies, and I was like, Boss Baby? I had never heard of this project before. Like, I don't think it was ever announced as a project that was in development at DreamWorks. And I found out it was based on a 2010 children's book. And Boss Baby, well, Boss Baby was, from my end, was met with some real venom. You would have thought that DreamWorks lit the world on fire or something, or did something really horrible when they announced the concept of the movie. It's about a baby CEO, as the title clearly implies, and it's about him and his older brother fighting for their parents' affection, and then there's an evil baby that's masquerading as the baby brother, and it's not horrible. I mean, it's not horrible, but it's a little silly, but I think it could work if done right. And apparently I forget the guy's name, but they got the screenwriter of one of the Austin Powers films to do the script, and that's kind of new, that's kind of fresh. So, you never know, it could be funny. Like, I could see it being one of their, sillier, funnier entries that... Because I like that DreamWorks does that. They'll do, like, a serious, a more serious movie like Dragon or Guardians or Panda, but then they'll do, like, a silly comedy on the side. As long as the silly comedy on the side is good. Because I didn't think it worked with the Croods, and I wasn't too... I don't know if I'd call Turbo a silly or, like, a sillier film, but it was definitely a more lightweight, I should say. Lightweight is not a bad thing. If it's terrible and lightweight, then that's the issue right there. But, if Boss Baby is done right, it could be good as a little lightweight alternative to, all the dragons and all the, pandas and guardians. I mean, there's very little that has been revealed. I think, a lot of people on the internet, like, I remember I wrote the article and all the comments, they were pissed almost. It's like, whoa, you would have thought DreamWorks did something horrible, like committed some crime or something. Yes, the idea may not be cool to some, but hey, you're not within the walls of the DreamWorks studios. It could work. Give it a chance. DreamWorks, a lot of people doubted DreamWorks when they said they wanted to make a movie called Kung Fu Panda, and look what happened. I mean, that isn't a guarantee that Boss Baby is going to be a good movie, that's as good as Kung Fu Panda, but you never know.